I'd like to welcome you all out this evening. My name is Michael Comer. I'll be the moderator for this forum. Give you a little idea of how it'll work. The candidates drew numbers for the order that they'll answer in, and that will kind of revolve, so everyone will have an opportunity to be first under the gun. We have a series of questions that have been submitted. They are in no particular order. So there's nothing, and the candidates have not seen them. Christina and I are the only ones that have seen the questions. And each candidate will be given approximately 3 minutes to answer a question. We'll give them a little extra on the first question since they'll also have an opportunity to introduce themselves. And I think that's about it. When we get done, if you want to talk to any of the candidates, I'm sure they'll be glad to chat with you and answer any questions you might have, particularly for them. Is that on? Yeah. So the candidates drew numbers, and the first answer will be given by Mr. Parker. And that question for you is to kind of introduce yourself a little bit, tell why you're running for school board, and then what do you consider to be the biggest challenge the school district faces at this time?
Thank you. Hello everyone. I know quite a few of you. My name's Danny Parker. Been on school board for 3 years now. I graduated from NMCC 1991, went off to college for a little while, went to Arkansas State, went to SEMO for a little bit, come back home and met Tracy Putnam. She's from Dexter. We have a stepson. He's 28. His name's Logan Turner. Then I do have 2 sons in school down at NMCC right now. Josh is 16, Jackson is 10. A little bit about myself. I farm. We've lived up on kind of the north end of the county or the school district. I have my whole life, except for when I was going to college. We do live up on the north end of the district, just out of Sykeston, but in New Madrid School District. My wife, she's attending college at SEMO right now, and as far as hobbies and stuff, we camp. We are members of First Missionary Baptist Church in Matthews. And as far as answering the question about why, what was the question? I'm sorry.
What do you consider to be the biggest challenge the school district faces at this time?
The biggest challenge we face definitely will be with Noranda closing and trying to recoup some of that money. They're doing a lot of things. We've done some cuts. We had to do, I don't know, a lot of trimming on the budget, but that's going to be a big hurdle we face in the future. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, I'm John Coleman. I am a lifelong resident here in the New Madrid County District. My entire family is. I graduated in 1989. From there, I attended Southeast Missouri State, where I got a bachelor's degree in science and a major in agriculture business. I married Tanya LaValle Palmer. We have 6 kids, 4 who attend school, 1 graduate, and 1 waiting in the wing. And we, just think here, I'm self-employed, I own my own business. Tanya and I, we were at it, but this will be our 12th year on our own. We I attend the Lilburn Church of Christ, where I've been my entire life for 45 years. A lot of hobbies, probably too many hobbies. Mostly chasing kids though. And I'll go to the question of the biggest challenge. Noranda is a very big challenge for us. We have several challenges, but one I see as a very large challenge for us is our decline in numbers. We have so many graduates that leave here with good educations, and they go on and they get jobs in other places. We don't have a lot here to offer, and it's a problem because that's our future. We're declining every year. I believe we're down 54 this year from last year, if I'm not mistaken. And that's every year. It's every year we're going down just a little bit. And I'm afraid we're going to get to the point where we're not going to be able to stop that. And we need more here to offer, of course, and a good school district brings, hopefully with a good school district, people can look at our community and say, hey, I want to live there. I want my kids to go to that school. And hopefully, I know the city of New Madrid's working very hard, very diligently trying to get new enterprises in here. I know that's a campaign they're on every day. Hopefully they can get the Noranda going again, but that's a big issue. We're steadily dropping, and it's scary. But like I said, a really good school district is something that everyone looks at. That's one of the first things when you move into a new community. You want to see what kind of district they have. So, I personally want a very good school district here. I have a lot vested here. All my children are here. I don't plan on going anywhere. I want my children to live here. I don't want mine to leave. And I'm sure you've all noticed also, not only the children leave, but I was driving through Littleton going through church the other night, and Mr. Ted Mock's home's for sale. He's moving to his children. We're steadily losing people like that. Once the children leave and the older generation retires, they go to their children, and this whole boot hill is on the decline, and that's a big issue. So I'll leave it at that. That's it.
My name is Renee Bates. I'm from Marston, Missouri. Now I live in Howardville. I have two grown daughters, both graduated from New Madrid County Central. I graduated from New Madrid County Central in 1986. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I've been with probation and parole for 15 years. Else about myself. I am a Christian. I belong to Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church in Marston. I have a big family here. I guess one of the big things I think we face is the tough budget. And I think that I can make good, sound-based decisions on facts. And I'm up for the challenge and the experience. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm Kay Ripstock. Many of you, I recognize your faces in the room. And all of these three, probably at some point I had either at an elementary school or a middle school or high school. So, my husband and I moved here. Well, my husband grew up here, but I moved here with him in 1973. Or actually about a little earlier than that, I started working in the school district in 1973. So I probably had many of you also come through the library at some point and check out books. I've been on the board now since 2005. I worked in our district for 32 years. I feel like my background as a teacher and an educator has given me a good understanding of how schools work and how they run and what things need to be done to make sure that they run very smoothly. I also have spent extensive time working not only locally but at the state and the regional level, trying to learn more about being a good school board member. And currently serve on the state board of directors, which has been an honor to share New Madrid County stories with state people. I go to the Methodist church here in town, and my children, they did move away. And part of it, I'm sure, was because there weren't things here for them to do. My son works for an internet company out of Columbia. And I guess if I have a hobby, it's my 2 grandchildren. That seems to take up most of my time. As far as the question that was asked, I do see one of our major things is financial. And being on the board several years, we felt like we were in pretty good financial shape. I mean, we were doing things that we thought were needed. One example is in December, before we lost and ran the money, we bought 41 buses, and you couldn't return them. So we had to kind of figure out a way to pay for buses. We had contracted to do some repairs to buildings that we could not do. I have to say that the financial impact, which we are working through and doing better, just recently we announced that we were going to go back to the pay scale so that people will be able to make up some of what they lost. Something that somebody else mentioned was the enrollment, and it is down, and it's probably going to continue to go down, and we're going to be looking at some hard choices in the next few years. And most recently, the change of faculty. We had many people retire this year, and whether you liked them or not, they had a lot of experience, and they knew a lot of good ways to teach students and to encourage them. So we're going to be looking for some big shoes to fill in the next few weeks as far as hiring new people. And we hope that the public will be supportive and encourage us to make good decisions. Thank you.
Homer will be the first to answer. And the question is, how would you determine budget priorities?
Priorities. That's a good question. I guess priorities, first of all, is, and first and foremost, what I've learned in my 3 years there so far is what's best for the children. That's what we're there for. You know, what is always, that's always our number one topic is, you know, what's best for them. They're the product. You know, the faculty, they're the employees, and so that's next. You know, what's best for them, what can we do for them that is going to make a better product? And so students are always priority, and how we can improve the learning towards them. We're, you know, and we want to always be able to offer the faculty further education for them. I mean, I don't believe we've turned down anything that will, I may be wrong, but I don't believe we've turned down any educational forms for our students. We want them to be able to further themselves and better themselves. And we're, right now, for the first time ever, we're actually, we're offering we have a lady coming in working with our administrators so they can better our product. So priority is our children, and it always will be in every school. I believe that's probably a pretty simple answer for everyone, but I'll pass it on.
Most important thing would be the students, their education. Then I guess it would be let me back up. The students and their education, and once they graduate high school, even if they don't go no further, we want them to be able to be self-sufficient enough. So they need to get what they need in school. After that, I think it would be the teachers, because, you know, they need to be able to teach what they need to, you know, the kids need to know. Then after that, I think it probably would be safety.
About what's most important to us, I will have to say, in all the boards I've served with, and especially this last year with the group that we've had, almost every single meeting, it is mentioned several times, what's going to be best for the kids involved? What can we do to help them? One of the things we've done this year, we're lucky to receive a grant, and we're doing some after-school programs that, whether the teachers like to stay after or not, I don't know, but I think the kids are thoroughly enjoying it. They've done everything from robotics to archery to, I don't know what all. I saw something the other day about doing digestion things using unusual materials. I think that things you can do to encourage student involvement are probably our highest priorities. The second thing would be is to get good people in the classroom to be able to work with them and to get them to the highest potential so that they can go out and be good citizens in whatever they choose to do later on. And as someone mentioned, we have hired someone to work with our administrators. That may have been an area that we were neglecting as far as training. And this person is looking at our administrators and what they're doing, and it filters down to the teachers and helping them make some solid decisions for their buildings and for what they want to do. Several years ago, well actually I guess about a year and a half ago, we set up priorities for the board, and one of which was building facilities. Of course, this was prior to the Maria situation. But we wanted the buildings to be in good shape. We wanted to make sure they had roofs that didn't leak, and lights that worked, and whatever else that you needed. Has been somewhat limited this year. The last thing I would like to mention is that we tried to buy materials and technology that will support our students. We've tried to get Chromebooks in the middle school and the high school. We've tried to buy smart boards for the classrooms. There's several things that we've tried to do to make sure that the students have the best access to whatever they need to become good citizens and to know how to do something when they get out of school. So I hope that some of those things are things that perhaps mean something to you too. And thank you.
I agree with everything they said about that. The before and after classes, the enrichment, the tutoring, and then the learning labs. It has really been beneficial to, we were in some pretty lean times, still are, but being able to let some of the faculty stay and work, and also, helping some of these parents out that need to be at work or whatever, that has been really beneficial. So, definitely as far as the priority financial, it's the kids, the learning.
I was reminded that I needed. Next question, Ms. Banks will be the first one to answer. It says, do you think we should have 4-day school weeks? And why or why not? Probably a kid said that.
When I was a kid, yes. But now, no, I really don't think so. I think that just like when they get grown, they're gonna pretty much everybody work 5 days a week. Just a schedule you need to just stay on. I think we're fine with 5.
Discussed, 4-day weeks have been discussed across the state in several areas, and there are a few schools in the state that do this, mainly because of transportation cost. You can save a whole day of busing and heating the building, and whatever else cost would be related to that kind of a thing. As far as education, I don't really think so. I think that we really need to have our kids in school as much as we can and give them every opportunity to learn. I don't know, I'm assuming most of you are either parents or teachers or something, and this is just speaking from a former faculty member and a parent. We get a lot of days off anyway. We have days that are long weekends, and we have spring break coming up. So, it's not like we don't ever have any days off. There was a school recently in Meadow Heights, I think, that just voted this down about a week or two ago. It may come to that if we run out of money completely, but I don't really foresee that in our area. Thank you.
Okay.
I do not agree at all with the 4-day school week. It would, our you know, everyone that works 5-day weeks, it would make their lives miserable trying to find daycare for one day, and I just think it would be a disaster. Thank you.
Well, oddly enough, it was heavily discussed with us at one time when Miranda did go out of business. It was something because we were scrambling. We were really trying to figure out how it could make ends meet, and it actually could save the district several $100,000. It was a real topic because of our busing is a huge issue. We're the second most miles of any district in the state of Missouri. And it was a real issue that we talked about. But it came back to the last question, it came back to the children. What's best for them? Not necessarily is the money. Money's important. We have to have money to operate. Everybody knows that, just like your homes, you have to have money. But you're going to start doing with less other things to make sure these children are taken care of properly. Because ultimately, the answer was, we all agreed on, these kids, 4 days a week, no matter if they're getting the same education, they're not, that's taking a day away that they're with these teachers. And they're with quality, not to say their parents aren't quality people, but they're with an educator for 5 days. They're in a safe environment for 5 days. And it just makes so much more sense. And that's why it was set up like that originally. I assume our forefathers knew enough then. So yeah, definitely 5 days. Like I said, we discussed it, and it was a big money saving for our district, but it was a no-brainer for us to stick with the 5 days.
Okay, Ms. Rebstock will be first on this next question. It's a pretty long one, so if you need it repeated, please let me know. It said, schools require multiple jobs to make them run smoothly. Some are done by behind-the-scenes personnel. As a school board candidate, do you know the requirements, degrees, and/or job description of each position and what his and her job demands on a daily basis? That's exactly what each person does, not just what is assumed. If not, how are you going to understand what the teachers and staff need to ensure student success?
That is a complicated question. I don't know that I can recite completely what everybody's job description includes. And in fact, in the last few weeks, we have looked at several job descriptions and realized that a few of them did need tweaking to show what they were really doing as opposed to what the job description said they were supposed to be doing, to make them match up a little bit better. I do know that as an administrator, you have to have an advanced degree. You have to have certification as a principal, as a specialist, as a superintendent, whatever it requires to have extra certification. As a classroom teacher, you have to have completed college, and you have to have gone through an education program of some kind and completed various testing things. In fact, the testing now is maybe more important than some of the classes that you take as an educator. And you have to sometimes keep this up. When I first started out, and when Mr. Brown started out, we were given what they call lifetime certificates, and you could have walked out the door and never taken another class in your whole life. And in some cases, people did that. They didn't ever do anything else. In today's world, our younger teachers who are coming in, they have to complete some professional development. They perhaps have to go back and take some classes to continue their certification, because you don't just get it automatically anymore. As far as our support staff, the secretarial staff, they have job descriptions, and each one may be unique to what they particularly do, whether it's financial or building secretary or whatever. Some of them have some degrees. Some of them have maybe a couple of years of school. Some of them have technical education. It really just depends on what kind of a job that they do. And our custodians and building personnel that take care of the buildings, who do a superior job. If any of you have been in one of our buildings, I think you can't fault how well they're taken care of. I'm always just so amazed when I walk in and see how clean and nice everything looks. These people may or may not have more than a high school education. Some of them may not even have that. I am not really positive about that. But they all come with the desire to work and to help. And I haven't, when I worked in a building or more than one building in the district, you found out you made friends with the secretary and you made friends with the custodian. They were the two most important people in your life because they are what makes the school run and makes sure that it's open every day. So that would be my answer. I don't really know that I can recite them. They are out there, and I would assume those kinds of things are public record if somebody wants to read them. Have fun. They're long.
I was pretty well gonna say what she said. We have top-notch faculty. Our administrators at the school, and most of that stuff, I'm gonna be honest with you, I let them worry about that. I do need to probably brush up on some of that stuff, but I don't know it, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I do, so, thank you.
As far as knowing what everyone's jobs and their titles, and honestly, I mean, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. But the way I see it being a board member, that's not our, I'm not gonna say it's not our responsibility, but our job is to manage the manager, manage the management. We oversee the management, not, and if they're doing a good job, they're overseeing the faculty, and we're not having problems with them. And when we are, we know, we start learning what they do and what their titles are. You learn real fast when you do have a problem. You start picking that up. But, you know, we really focus on that, the management, the finances. It's not our day-to-day. We can't get in there on day-to-day on what those guys do. We can't step on their toes. That's not what we're there for. No, I don't know.
I'll say exactly what you said. I mean, to the T. Yeah, I don't think that I should know. Not, you know, especially me. Now, y'all, maybe so.
Pick up a little extra.
But I don't think that I really should know exactly the titles or all of that, what they do. So I'm just gonna sit down.
Question, will be back to Mr. Parker with the first answer. Currently, there is an inadequate number of administrators in each building. This leaves some responsibilities unmet or unfulfilled, such as evaluations, classroom visits, and/or monitoring or discipline. Do you see this as a problem, and why or why not?
Did you repeat again?
Sure.
Inadequate.
It says currently there is an inadequate number of administrators in each building. This leaves some responsibilities unmet or unfulfilled, such as evaluations, classroom visits, and monitoring, classroom monitoring, or discipline. Do you see this as a problem, and why or why not?
During last year with Miranda, we did have to shuffle some administrators around a little bit, put them back in classrooms, and I really feel like things are going pretty good. I'm not hearing that there's trouble, or I guess, and there are people to step in and help when need be, but I haven't heard that we're inadequate in any way, so.
Thank you for that question. I believe we have decreased some numbers in that. Personally, when I ran last time, I felt like we were probably heavy in some areas. But the Miranda situation, it did have a shuffle around. We had some retirements that we didn't refill those from, and the money helped, but also there's state requirements for that. There's numbers set up for that, and we're actually under those numbers right now. We're not deficient as far as if the state looks at us, they don't look at us and say, wow, you guys are running short here on administration in this building, because actually, we're not. We're actually running a little to the other way. But I said earlier, we are, and right now, we're in the process of training our administrators. That we hope that's gonna help, and we're also doing team leader building leaders from within our staff and our teachers, and we're hope that everyone's building up and building more, and we will, you know, do we need more administration, or do we need another teacher in 5th grade where we don't have 25 in a room, we have 15 in a room? You know, where do you want to put that money in? And that's, to me, that's just something you weigh your options. So
I think anytime if there's difference in the workload less, there's got to be a problem. There's got to be more work on somebody than others. So yeah, I guess I do see it as a problem. What are we gonna do about it? We'll have to figure that out. What's best for the kids, the teachers as a whole.
I would assume that the question really is directed at the middle school and the high school, because we've only had one principal in the elementaries for several years. And yes, we did cut principals in both those buildings last year. And we cut one of our higher level administrators last year and shuffled some people around. And a lot of that was due, as they pointed out, to financial problems. But as Mr. Palmer pointed out, the state says for 250 students, you can have one administrator. For 275 students, you get 1.1 administrators, or whatever the number is. I'm not sure what the number is. So they tell you pretty well what you need. Now, a lot of places that have funding have more than one. And I could see at some levels that sometimes it has been short. It's probably especially in the realm of ball games and things where you have people that have to be there. That we always require an administrator to be at events with students involved of some kind. I will say that we have asked teachers to step up. We have teams in each building now who are working not only on curriculum and other things, but on learning how to be their building's leaders. And I'm sure that some of those people have stepped up and done things to assist the principal in whatever they need to have done. Could we have more? Sure. Whether that's the best thing that we need or not, maybe we need teachers more. Maybe the money's just not there. And I see that as we're doing what the state tells us that we need to do. I guess that's pretty well the bottom line.
The first answer on this one. If budget cuts are necessary, where would you look to make cuts? And are there any areas you would definitely not consider cutting?
can you repeat that one more
Sure.
time?
If budget cuts are necessary, where would you look to make cuts? And are there any areas you would definitely not consider cutting? Or I guess it should be probably definitely consider not cutting, probably be worded better.
I mean, I'll just tell you the real situation in our school district. And if need be in budgets, it's something that keeps coming up. We have a vocational school there, and we all know it. I mean, within I'm sure the community knows it's not what it used to be. And we're really working hard we've lost every school. We had Portageville and Gideon, I think, and Briscoe. We had several, East Prairie, we had several schools there at one time, and those schools have all left us. And we want those back, and we're working diligently. We're working with those schools trying to get them back. Are we gonna cut that? Lord, I hope not. But it's something that we have to talk about, and everyone that gets on that board from now on will face that. You know, it's gonna be a dilemma. It's something we're really worried about. We want that. That's offering kids. Not all kids are gonna leave New Madrid County Central and go to college or have a job when they walk out. It offers another form of education that they can leave and walk straight into society and help them. But it's an issue for us because our numbers are so low. Our district, we're not the school we were 10 years ago. We don't have the numbers we had 10 years ago. And that's a real problem. And what was the second part? Something we definitely won't cut?
No, I said, is there anything you would consider not cut, definitely not cutting?
I can't say, I can't, there's really not an answer for that. I don't believe you want to have a true answer because until we're faced, year to year, I don't believe you can truthfully answer that question. And I couldn't get up here and wing it and act like I knew something about it. Because one thing, even if I truly thought there was something I couldn't cut, I'm one of 7. You're a board, you're a team, you work together. And I really don't have a good answer for you.
Ms. Banks?
Question, please. I have no idea. That's my answer, and I'm gonna stick to it. I really don't know. I'm new. I don't know. I would not want to cut teachers' salaries. That's something I would not want to do. I really wouldn't, but that's all I got.
I think that's a question they should have asked us last year, maybe. Because we had to do a lot of those things we didn't really want to do last year. We froze salaries, we cut some positions. Our students who were going on trips and things, we cut some of that back. We had money to send them places. Our teachers who were going to meetings and things, we cut that back because, whatever. If you ask the librarian in me and the former teacher in me, I'd say, don't cut academics at all. You can cut something else, which might be sports or something that the guys wanted. But you can't do that. That's a big part of our school. Many students only really make it to school every day because they're participating in something. And so those are things you really can't do away with. I guess we've already done all the things that we didn't think we could ever do. And hopefully this year, we're looking at getting it back. Most of you probably know we received our only one-time partial payment from Noranda. And through some good book work from January last year until this now, we are looking at a balanced budget for the first time in probably almost since I've been on the board. I mean, for most times we had deficit spending. We usually came out okay at the end, but we were spending in a deficit. And this year we actually are looking right now at a balanced budget, which is great. And I'm hoping that the things that we did have to change or cut, if there are things that are really needed, that by fall of next year, that we can reinstate many of those things.
We did put some of the infrastructure stuff kind of on the back burner to try to get through this last year. Things are a little better now. We, like they were saying, we've went back on some of the salary freeze and stuff we had. As far as the technical skills, like John said, that's really a big deal. There's so many kids out there, that's all they've got. There's a lot of kids that aren't going to be going to college that need something to fall back on for when they do get out of school. So I hope we can get it figured out, but that may be something we have to look at in the future. Thank you.
What are your areas of concern regarding student achievement? Do you have any specific suggestions for improvement?
I am blank. Student achievement. already have the after-school program. I don't know if, maybe, maybe more, I don't know, we talking about budgets, and then I wanna bring up, well, more after-school programs as far as studying, more counseling, but that's what's needed.
Today, online, I think probably it was in the Sykeston paper, yet it was on their online edition, about student achievement and APR and why test scores are so low. And I don't want to come out as being negative or whatever, but we kind of have to look sometimes at our student population. We have about 75% of our elementary students are on free and reduced lunch. We have many children who come from homes who only have one parent, and they may be great one parents, but sometimes that leads to a problem. We have many children who simply depend on school almost to have breakfast, lunch, and after-school snack. And all these things play into what kind of scores children get on tests. I think this after-school program has gotten kids excited, and I'm hoping, looking at test scores coming out next month, which will be the month that they test, will look better. But the problem is, the public usually only looks at the one test score, the one that you do in April every year. And you can't base really what the child is learning on that one test. I think you even have students who are making all A's and B's who don't do well on the test for whatever reason. I see a lot, we're doing a lot. I will say the last 4 years, 3 years I guess, our APR has been up considerably over what it was for several years before that. And that is your average performance or daily performance score, which is based on a multitude of things, not just test scores. And in fact, today in the paper, it had Sykeston's, it had Poplar Bluffs, and we were right there with all of those schools. So we aren't really failing. Sometimes we just have to get the kids where they can perform well on a test.
What are your areas of?
I know with the elementaries, they have started pulling some of these smarter kids out of the classes, or well, off to the side, and are kids that are, I guess, above as far as education. They are working with them on more advanced things to try to, make our top higher. They went to a kind of smaller groups as far as trying to work with these kids, all the kids, the more proficient and the more average. So that's.
What are your areas of concern regarding student achievement? Do you have any specific suggestions for improvement?
As far as achievement, I believe we're achieving fairly well. What I can do to help as a board member, I feel like a board member's part in that is we have a great faculty as far as teachers are concerned. I'll put them against any district around. But as far as my part is to make sure as we're hiring new that we go after the best. That's what we say that a lot in there. We want the best. We don't want to be satisfied with mediocre. We want to go after on these new hires. We want the best we can possibly get. It's just like, and I've made this statement in a meeting, it's just like my home. When I have a roof problem, I don't just hire you because you own a hammer. I'm going after the best person I can. And that's how I look at when we're doing this, when we're involved in the hiring process. We don't want to settle. We want to keep shooting for the top. And I believe we owe that to our kids, and that's the way we should be doing all as a community.
Each of you, 3 minutes. Ms. Repstock will go first on this one. To mention anything you think is important for the voters to know. I might also add that our live feed died on us, so this will be posted tomorrow on, what, YouTube?
It'll be on the Facebook.
And on the Chamber Facebook page. So, so if there's anything you want to make sure that the voters know about you, or a final comment you'd like to make, now's the time.
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to serve for these last several years on the board. I enjoy this. People that know me know that if I get involved in something, that I tend to try to do as much as I can to learn about it and to do what I can to support it. I've enjoyed doing this, and I hope that I've done, for the most part, a good job. I think I started out thinking, all right, I was a teacher, I know what teachers need. I'm going to try to be as good as I can about supporting their needs and efforts and the faculty's kind of things. And immediately I found out that it's not all just about the teachers, it's mainly about the students. And I really care about what happens to our students in our district and how well they succeed in life. I went to a meeting earlier this year that the state did all around the state, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and the main thing that came out of that, we want our children to be able to be good citizens and to be able to succeed in life. And I really think about this board, especially over the last year or two, has tried to work together and to make sure that the decisions, as hard as they may be, are what are going to be able to help our students to succeed. And I would certainly appreciate your vote if you feel so inclined to do so. Thank you.
I'm a terrible speaker. I mean, this has been really hard for me. I'm not the kind of person to get up in front of a crowd and say much. And I just want you all to know, I care about our kids. I've got kids that are going to be in this school for a while. We have great faculty. We have great administration. Everybody that works at our school, bus drivers, everybody, they are great. I would like to stay on the board. It's been an interesting 3 years. I'd like to stay on for another 3 and kind of get through this. It's been a little bit rough, but I appreciate your vote on April 4th. Thank you.
I've been on the board this 3 years, just one term, and it's been a challenge. And but I'll say one thing about the board right now: the 7 people that are on there that are in that room, everyone works very, very hard. Every decision is made for the best of the children, and it truly is. There's not a person in there that has a self-interest besides those kids and that school and that faculty. And I'll tell you something unique about the board right now is we're in there and we don't agree on everything. We disagree a lot, and we don't vote on things the same. But one thing we do is when it's finished, it's still about the children. There's no hard feelings. There's never walk away that things didn't go the way I should have, or Dee or anyone else, that things didn't go my way and I'm mad or pouty and I'm not going to go with them next time. And that kind of, I mean, the first 2 years were a real challenge in that board for me. But this group in here right now has meshed so well and working really good. And like I said, you would think by the disagreeing that we do actually have, it's made us better. It's made us stronger because we can walk away as friends still and walk away with the same goal, and that's to be the shining star in this community. And in the boot hill, our talk in there. We want New Madrid on the map. We want this school district to be the school district of choice. Most of us here grew up in New Madrid, and we think about the good times. We think of how great that school was. I don't know how great it was. It seemed awesome when I was there. It seemed great. I mean, there may have been a ton of problems. I don't know. But it seemed like the place to be for me. And that's what I want it to be for my kids. And not only for my kids, everyone's kids. I want them to walk out, and I want them 15 years later saying, man, this place, that was an awesome school. You know, and they'll probably be saying, what happened to it now? You know, I mean, but I want them to look back and have the wonderful memories I had of that school, and how the employees and everyone just worked so hard for them. I love this school district. I love this community. It means everything to me. I always have. I mean, it's home to me, and this school district's home. I feel home when I walk in there. From the time I went to school there, even before I got on that board, when I walk in that school, I feel welcome. And I hope anyone whether you're a school member or whether you're a teacher, I want any public, when you walk in there, you should feel welcome. Right.
I'm a proud Navy veteran, and that was a team to me, and I feel like being on the school board would be the same thing, a team. I would make sound decisions based on facts, what's best for everybody as a whole. I have, the kids are just genuinely a good concern in my heart. The community, I'm like you, I love New Madrid County. I like it here. What else can I tell you? I want everybody to vote for me. And I will make sure that I do my best, the best that I can. And that's really all I can tell you. I can do the best that I can. And I'm ready to jump in there, experience. On my job, I have to make quick decisions for the safety of the community, even for my clients. Thank you.